Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear and see you. Okay.
And I am from the United States. I have been teaching English for about 2 years now. I started in Tanzania in Africa. Didn't know I was going to be doing it, but I wound up really liking it. And now I'm back in the US and teaching on Cambly. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice to meet you. My name is Paulo, and I'm from Brazil, but I currently live in New Zealand, in
Okay.
Auckland. Yes,
Okay.
I'm here to study English, so I have been doing an English course
Hmm.
to improve my English skills. And maybe I want to stay here for more time because it's an amazing country. I love it
Yeah.
here. Yeah, it's really, really good country.
I'm hoping
And
to visit New Zealand in just a few months here, so hopefully I'll be able to see it too. But that's very cool. What
mhm.
made you want to study English?
Oh, of course, English is always important for everyone because you can have more opportunities. But for me, I started to learn English, and 1 year and a half ago, and
Mhm.
I kind of like it to study. It's really fun. So for me, it's for like a hobby, in the
Oh yeah.
beginning. And then I like, I always wanted to know if I am able to live abroad,
Mhm.
because when we study by yourself in your house online, is different, it's other experience. So I want to try to live here for for a few months just to see
Mhm.
like a proof that if my English is good, something
Yeah,
like that.
definitely.
And but it's awesome living in other countries, like change your life completely, other culture. Here in Auckland has a lot of immigrants, so
Mhm.
I have met people from Japan, Chile,
Yeah.
Spain, a lot of countries. So I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's incredible. Did you always want to maybe travel abroad and kind of see if your English would work?
To be honest, no, because I tried to learn English when I was teenager,
Mm.
but I was a terrible student, and so always thought like, oh, I will never learn. But nowadays we have technology,
Mhm.
internet, and I saw some videos that people like teach you in other way, not the traditional method like grammar
Yeah.
or like follow a book, like a funny way to learn English. And uh, this like dream started 2 years ago, I think. I
Mm.
started to learn, and I said, "Oh my God, it's possible to learn English, so I can go abroad."
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have idea how good is talking in English. It's really good. When I had my first class here, was something magic, because it was the first time that I talked with a native speaker, and it was, for example, my English was terrible, but the feeling was good. Oh my God, I can
Mhm.
talk with him. It was, I think, a British guy, and
Mm.
I don't know, I felt so good, and I say, oh, I need to study more. It was
Yeah,
something magic for
definitely. Yeah, it's always so much fun to test what you've learned with a native speaker.
me.
I am learning Spanish. Well, I knew Spanish as a kid. My mom is Puerto
Hmm.
Rican, and I spoke as a very little kid, but then I didn't have any friends or any reason to use Spanish
Yeah.
as I was getting older, so I lost a lot of it. I I can still read Spanish really well and understand basically what's going on, but I have lost a lot of the words to speak for myself. So I like being able to practice, but also it's kind of scary the first time.
Hmm.
And I like to travel to Spanish speaking countries to practice. because I think that's the best place to do it. But I also work in a place where there are people that only speak Spanish, and that's a nice way to practice too.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. It's really
Mhm.
good. And you told me like you started to teach in Africa, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Which country in Africa?
Is in Tanzania, so it is on the eastern side, kind of just above Madagascar, the little island. Um, it is very famous for being the home of Kilimanjaro, the tallest mountain in Africa. And I went there to volunteer. I was supposed to go in 2020, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little problem. So I went after I graduated university, and I spent a month out there volunteering and having a little bit of fun too. So I got there and found out I was going to be helping the English classes and the computer classes. And we did it very similar to how we do it on Cambly, where we just talk. We'll do the basic grammar lessons for the new students, but the intermediate and advanced classes just practicing talking.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, really cool. Yes, and I think the best way to improve your English skills is talking like us, having a casual conversation. This is
Mm-hmm.
the best way, you know. It was how I learned. I think I improved a lot with Cambly. You know, Cambly helping me a lot. It
Yeah,
still help me.
definitely.
Amazing, amazing. It's fun, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like real, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
I don't
It's
know how
kind of
to explain.
it's kind of just like video chatting with someone someone online.
Hmm.
I joined, yes, because I liked teaching English, but also because all of my students are international, and I love learning about the places that everyone comes from because I love to travel, and sometimes I learn
Hmm.
interesting things about where you guys live, and I can take that so I can use it for when I visit your country someday.
Yeah. And for example, you are have been teaching for a while,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Tell me something that you learned in the about I don't know methods about teaching. You know, did you change some methods, or you feel that in some ways easier to teach?
Hmm. So I started originally with like a big classroom and being just one teacher,
Mhm.
which works. But if I really want to make sure someone understands, I want to do one on one. So after a while,
Mhm.
I wanted to do more one on one, and I don't teach any group classes on Cambly because of that. I
Mhm.
think I have a easier time just handling one person, and because everyone is at a different level or needs different things, so I like being able to just cater to one person rather than maybe having them feel like they're slowing everyone down, or the lesson has to stop because of one or two people and maybe two other people are wanting to do something much more advanced. I like the personal one on one. I've also learned that a lot of English does not make any sense. And it's a very interesting language because it comes from lots of different places. But because of that, there's lots of rules that don't make sense, and lots of little things that just I guess didn't pick up on as a child when I was learning
Mhm.
it. Because now when people ask me, oh, well, why is English like this? Why is this done this way? I sit back and say, I don't know.
Mhm.
Your guess is as good as mine. It's a fun language, but it's definitely challenging.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard. My English class also are really hard sometimes because, as you say, like there are some rules in English, but there are some exceptions, and
Hmm.
sometimes it doesn't make sense, and you just need to you should do the grammar things because it don't have a logic,
Yeah.
so it's hard to explain. Yeah.
Yeah, and I that's why I like Spanish so much, mostly because Spanish is one of those languages that I can look at and I know exactly how any sentence or word is going to be said. I don't have to guess, oh,
Hmm.
well, is this letter silent or is this letter at the
Yeah.
end going to change this? I was just having a lesson where I was explaining words ending in ed and how depending on the
Hmm.
letter before the ed, it can change how it's pronounced. And she was asking me
Yeah.
why. And I said, I don't know. It's just like that.
Hmm.
But I've when I learned I'm learning Spanish, and then I did obviously a month of speaking Swahili. And Swahili I thought was going to be very difficult. No, it's pretty simple, which was a relief. And it's another one of those languages where if you see a word or sentence written out, if you know how the language sounds, you can say it 90% of the time without missing something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think in Spanish and Portuguese is kind of that. Like
Yeah.
all the words have a sound, and there are some exceptions, but not like English. English,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why this happened. A lot of sometimes the sounds change. So it's confusing. Really.
Or, it's said differently in different places. And if you say it
Hmm.
one way, like, just the difference between British English and American English always throws me off. Because there have been times where I've been in England and I can't understand what someone who is also speaking in English is saying to me.
Oh yeah. And have you ever heard like uh, New Zealanders accent? Is for me it's really hard to understand the New Zealanders. Really hard.
Yeah, I've heard a few New Zealanders accent, but it's very rare. But when I do hear it, I go, huh, what?
Hmm. Oh, good. So it's not like me. Sometimes because I work here in a construction,
Mm.
and my bosses are New Zealanders, and sometimes I need to. Oh, can you repeat, please? I don't understand.
Mhm.
It seems like they are talking other language. It's crazy. It's crazy. Really crazy. These languages,
Yeah,
I don't know them.
especially I know America also has its rules with slang, but I know that Australia and New Zealand are just they're very creative with the way that they say things.
Hmm.
And I think that would definitely be a challenge to learn that, oh well, this phrase actually means this. And I know that there's a lot of that in Australia. I think it's very cool. I think it's fascinating, but it probably takes a while to learn. Even as an English speaker, I can't imagine as a non native having to master all of these little things that people say.
Oh yeah, and something crazy here is that, for example, English have the British English and the American English, but
Mm.
for example, there are other English like Indian English that is it doesn't look like English for me. Seems
Yeah.
like other language. I talked with some Indians guys, and oh my God, so hard to
Hmm.
understand this because they speak fluent. They can speak very well, very fast, but
Hmm.
it's hard to understand. The pronunciation is totally different. I don't know why, and that's
Yeah.
the problem. The Brazilian English probably. You can see that it's different.
Hmm.
So I don't know how it's for you. For example, you have been teaching for the whole world. People
Hmm.
from I don't know, Africa. So sometimes it's hard for you, right? Understand these accents, right?
Yeah, I hear accents from all over the world. A majority of my students are Brazilian, Turkish, and Japanese and Indian. So I hear
Mhm.
accents from all over. And I think it's very cool. But at the same time, I do have to kind of switch the way that I'm hearing or expecting words to sound with every student that I talk to, because obviously a Japanese accent is very different from a Brazilian or a Turkish accent, um, because the words that you use in your native language are not the same. So
Mhm.
um, I have to correct different things. There are lots of different sounds. Um, and I definitely have to keep track of it.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
For me, it's hard because my class has some Latinos, some Russians, and there are some students that I can't understand. Really, it's really hard. It's not just because the accent. I think because they speak maybe in low volume. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I don't know. For you, it's easy to understand the Brazilian accent.
Yeah, I think so, but that's probably because of, you know, at least Brazilian Portuguese is very similar to Spanish in Latin America, so it's kind of got the same flow,
Hmm.
and the same speed. So I don't have a hard time understanding like the Brazilian accent. I do have a hard time with the Turkish accent and Saudi Arabia as well, an Arabic accent, um, because the words are I feel like they're pronounced very far back in the throat or like in the chest. All of the words are coming from here. Um,
Uh,
and then my Japanese students are talking like all of the words are very high pitched or they're very low. All of the male Japanese students I have talk with a very low voice, and all of the
mhm.
female students I have a very high voice, which is interesting. I don't know why it's like that, but it's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's really cool. Yes, I also have met some Japanese, and I know how is sometimes they speak like uh, I don't know if it's something cultural, but
Hmm.
for example, I think Brazilians usually talk maybe loud. I don't know if this is the thing, but
Hmm.
Japanese sometimes I need to, oh, what do you say? I didn't understand. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little higher? Because
Hmm.
it's hard sometimes. I don't know if it's culture, I don't know.
Yeah. I also know that my Japanese students tend to like over explain what they want to say. Um,
Mm.
they like to learn lots of words. They have a very big vocabulary, um, and when they're trying to explain things to me, they're using all of them. And I say, well, we can scale back a little bit. We want to be very clear and concise in English. Um, but they're also wonderful students. They're all very polite. They always come with, I have an article that I would like to read today. I'm like, oh, thank you. All right, let's do that.
Yeah, yeah, and a question for you, because I always have these types of classes. I don't know if maybe I need to I don't know use the material, the Cambly material. Maybe it's better. I don't know yet. What do you think about this? Is good, or is better to have a conversation?
I think that the Cambly material is good for people that are like intermediate, right in the middle. I think it's better for those kinds of people. I tend to do either conversation like this because this is how it would happen in real life. You know, you're not going to have a PowerPoint with a stranger and talk about one thing for a long time. So lots of people who are more advanced like this because it's realistic. But I do lots of article reads, so you can think critically in English, and that tends to be better. But we're just about
Uh,
out of time, so thank you so much, Paolo.
Thank
It's really
you.
nice meeting you.